Ride Rehab is enhanced with WDWNT Fast Play. The episode of this show and a selection of bonus features will begin automatically. To bypass Fast Play, simply press the main menu button at any time. Fast Play will begin in a moment.
Welcome to Ride Rehab, the podcast / live show that's a Monty Python cast member stuck in a moon screaming for help. I'm a dirty talking trash can from Tomorrowland, Tyler.
And I'm hot, wet, and coming soon, Tom Kiernan.
What? Someone? Ashley, you're muted? Why is Joe Rohde there?
Oh, shit.
Ashley?
Wait, I'm not muted.
No.
Unless I'm muted on vMix again.
No, you're not muted.
We can hear
I'm
you
not
now.
muted. Oh, okay.
You're good. This is going about as well as it normally goes for Thomas and I.
Yeah.
However, unfortunately, we are not. Why is Joe Rohde up on the screen?
He's getting closer
Because
to
why
Joe
not?
Rohde.
Oh wait, guys, Joe Rohde's
I
here.
can't believe it. Joe Rohde came on our podcast to benefit the cast members.
Joe Rohde, what
what
are
a
you?
stand-up guy.
What are you
Really?
doing here?
I'm just hanging out with my old friend, the Yeti. We're
How is he doing
sitting
this?
back, sipping mimosas. We're having brunch. We're having disco brunch.
Wow, that sounds exactly like Joe Rohde in all the interviews I've seen him in.
Yes.
He's got that vaguely transatlantic accent from the 1950s.
Well, Ashley, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ashley, everybody. Hi.
Okay.
I didn't
And,
know I was supposed to come up with a bit, but oh well.
I'm sorry, I didn't have enough time to message
That's
everybody.
okay. Totally okay.
Well, I guess since Joe Rohde's here, I was like, what are we going to talk about today? We have literally no topic ready. I figured we would just come up with something and we joked, so let's talk wonders of life. But since Joe Rohde is joining us, apparently, I figured we could talk about some Joe Rohde type attractions. I figured, now that
Joe Rohde type attractions. Do you just mean like rides he worked on? Is what you mean to say? But you say
yes,
Joe Rohde type attractions. I picture like an attraction that is that like I don't know how to word it.
like
it
an
like-
attraction that is Joe Rohde.
Yeah, exactly. Like, did he get closer while I was looking away?
He did get closer.
Oh,
Okay,
geez.
well, let's do what we do best, which is Ride Rehab. We're going to take an existing attraction, and we're going to see how we can improve it, change it, fix it, or shoehorn an intellectual property into it. And I'm sure we already talked about it before, but we are going to talk about Expedition Everest then.
Yeah.
Because, now that Joe Rohde has retired,
Good for him.
we're never going to get the Yeti fixed. There's literally nobody at Imagineering who is probably fighting to do that.
I'm going to assume that
No.
that Joe Rohde himself was probably battling it out many years.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'm sure
boys,
Disney management said
Me, Joe Rohde. Me, the
Yes.
actual real human Joe Rohde.
Joe
I
Rohde.
realized
Yeah.
I couldn't get it done in the company. I had to leave so I could do an outside job, which is why I'm currently inside Expedition Everest. It's a real Ocean's 11
Wow.
situation right now, fixing
Yeah,
it.
he had
Yeti.
Incredible. Joe Rohde had to sneak back into Disney World just to fix his own creation.
So are you just gonna live there? We plan meta jokes. I'm not ready for this one.
I was not.
Anyways, okay. Well, let's figure this out. So Disney is not gonna fix the Yeti.
Mhm.
So what do we do to fix the Yeti? Like, what do you think are like even the options for a ride like this, where the whole focus is the actual Yeti, and then this is like the big grand finale? I mean, I guess projection mapping is the obvious answer.
I was that sounds like, and that sounds like the obvious cheap answer too. all they have to do is go in there, take a big old like saw, cut the Yeti into pieces to take it off, and then have a projection of where the Yeti's supposed to be there.
Normally, I would agree with that, but the reality is, I don't know what else they can do because they haven't fixed it because they quite literally would have to take the mountain apart, get to him.
Well, I remember.
I mean, the options are kind of limited in what they can do.
Couldn't you just put like a blanket over it and then put a projector in the corner? Like, sorry, I said projection mapping, but couldn't you just put a screen there? I hate to say it, but just put a screen. That's at least more animated.
Hold on. Wait, do you think I'm currently at Universal Studios with this talk?
Wow.
No.
Savage Reed from
I was going to say Hollywood
Joe
Studios.
I like how he has to clarify he's a human.
I am human, Joe. And I don't know if you could see this on the stream, but I do have quite possibly my greatest plan yet on fixing the Yeti, which is a giant Yeti costume that I will make my Sisyphean sacrifice to wear and become the Yeti. I have a selection of Lunchables with me to keep me sustained, and I will become Yeti.
I mean, the idea of a human being, like, this is just Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh.
Like, the idea of somebody dressing up, I mean, because they had, like, Yeti costumes for, what was the maze last year?
It was just called, like, Wrath of the Yeti or something.
It was like
I do remember that.
Like that.
Yukon Freeze
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. I mean, that Yeti is how big? We're going to, on Ride Rehab Watches, tomorrow, we are going to watch the making of Expedition Everest.
It's very exciting.
And I think they said it was like 30 feet tall or something like that. Like, it's huge. And when you're riding the attraction, like, it doesn't seem, because you're so far away from it, like, how big is a human being even going to be? You're going to be like, what is that in the deck? And by the time you squint your eyes, you'll already be gone.
Well, before we realized that before it was revealed that the Yeti's movements were slowly tearing up the foundation of Expedition Everest, which is incredible to me, that they built the entire ride, and yet the way the animatronic lurches forward literally takes the ride apart. The Yeti was so powerful that they couldn't unleash it on the public.
Yeah.
Well,
what's incredible is that they figured it out like 6 months in.
Yeah.
I had a real Tim the Toolman situation. They were like, here's the Yeti, here's how it moves. And I'm like, no, more power. More power. And unfortunately, I put in so much power in my good, powerful Yeti that it can rip a mountain out of the earth itself if it ever moves again.
Joe Rohde, you probably when you were studying the Himalayas and how the Yeti is kind of a sacred guardian of the mountains, you were like, that means he needs to have all the power of the mountain inside of him, and you just kept amping it up.
Yes. Can Joe Rohde build a Yeti so powerful that Joe Rohde himself cannot repair it? Is really an old phrase that we come back to in Imagineering nowadays.
I'm just amazed that, like, you know, on something like Navi River Journey, if that shaman ever falls asleep, let's just say, because we don't want to ruin the magic that it's a robot.
who is watching our show and is like, that shaman is real. The Navi are real. I think anyone who's listening to our show is well aware that is a robot.
Yeah. Okay. So,
whoa,
like, if that shaman
you
goes,
said that word. I did not say robot. You said robot. That's not me.
If the shaman ever goes down, they like wheel her back and they have a projector. But I'm assuming that, like, they had the foresight. What's one of those two words? They had some type of thing to be able to, like, okay, if this goes down, we need to do maintenance, and then we need to have like a B mode. But the Yeti, like, there's no place for them to even.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Ash.
mean, he's technically in beam mode now. They put the
That's
disco
true.
lights on him, and now he's Disco Yeti, and they try to trick you into believing that he moves because they
But
still
there's
do
no way
the
for them
sound
to
effect.
maintenance it.
Mhm.
No, there's not. That was the problem. They didn't. The people building the mountain. Here's my theory. I don't know this to be true, but my theory is you had the people the Imagineers building and designing the mountain and the coaster itself, and then you had the team working on the animatronic. They needed all the force to make the animatronic move, but those two people never talked to each other and never talked about, well, how are we going to get in there to fix him? And
That sounds about right.
what, like, he's going to jump and put all of this weight and force into the mountain, and we need you to make sure that the mountain can take it. And they just never talked to each other. Because to your point, yeah, there's no way to even get in there to maintenance him. I mean, not that they have this option now, because you can't make him any weaker, because then he can't move. Like, he's as weak as he can be. And still being able to move because of all the pistons.
I thought a mountain.
So,
I thought a mountain would be able to sustain this kind of stuff. I didn't expect them to be building these weak mountains over in Everest.
I mean, one would think, but
here's my question.
Mhm.
If, like, what is the answer to this? Do we have to literally cut a hole in the mountain, and then pull it out, like a cat burglar who like puts a ring on the glass and then just like shoot, and then
I'm going to guess they would have to disassemble, like, if the mountain is constructed in such a way that the Yeti is actually pulling on the foundations as opposed to like just the bars or whatever, is the metal beams or whatever that's supporting it, then it's probably very complex to have to take apart. And it's more than just taking the Yeti. Excuse me. It's more than just taking the Yeti out. They'd have to take the Yeti, and then the beam that's supporting the Yeti, and then the beam that's supporting that beam, and then the beam that are connected to, like, I'm sure it's a whole complicated process, and they just don't want to bother shutting the ride down for that long, because the thrill aspect of it is
would be years.
The real draw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would cost money.
I tend to agree with that. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, and I was fortunate enough to see him move because we went the summer that it opened before they realized what it was doing, and it was awesome. Don't get me wrong. That's why I love it so much, because that was my first experience with it, and I do remember. But I understand. I don't know that there's anything. I mean, to your point, I think that you either take it apart and build a new one, or I think that's all you can do. And technology has progressed so much in the 06. So how many years has that been? I'm terrible at math.
That's 14 years.
Yeah. I mean, because to your point about the other one, in Pandora, Tyler, that animatronic moves so much smoother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
and
she also,
the weight and everything to move. So I
was going to say, like, the weight of
you've got to consider the Yeti has heavy moves. Like, he's not smooth moving like a shaman. He's not crumping around. Like, it's a lot more violent movement. So I don't know if the smooth work would go for it, says I, Joe Rohde. Could we perhaps, because of course you know I, Joe Rohde, am a world traveler, I have gone to an ancient civilization where I have learned of a new cryptid, an ancient civilization known as West Virginia. Could we perhaps maybe try a new, fresh cryptid? No one's on this Yeti thing anymore. They want new, fresh cryptids, and I think perhaps the Mothman of the mountain might be a good replacement here.
Well, there you go.
That's not a terrible idea. Redo the whole museum.
All
good. That's easy.
West Virginia.
You can think of that. You can put that in the queue. There's the Mothman. And the
I'm losing
I'm
The
well. I'm sorry. It's just funnier because my brother is actually in school in West Virginia. He ate several of these jokes
there you go.
at
Is he studying
Thanksgiving.
the Mothman? I don't know enough about the Mothman to even.
So
Joe Rohde and Thomas and
He's
Ashley,
an
do you know about
omen
the
of
Mothman?
bad luck.
I'm quite a I was quite a young, what's the word I'm looking for, weirdo. And
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere in the Mothman Prophecies, a pretty frightening film. But what's neat about the Mothman is that he'd be a very easy like replacement, because the Mothman's description is just that he has these giant wings and a pair of glowing red eyes. So what you could literally just take like a semi-transparent piece of cloth, stretch it between like a Y-shaped pole to make it look kind of vaguely like wings, and put two car headlights for his eyes, and then you got it. And you just keep it slightly far away from the ride.
Could we shave the Yeti?
Just shave the Yeti? Maybe.
Hold
Shave-
on.
shave
Yeah,
right
just make
next
him,
to
and
me.
then
Let
you just
me-
have the red eye. I mean, he already has red eyes, doesn't he? Or am I
Mhm.
thinking of Harold?
No, he has red eyes.
I know Harold does.
On the logo.
He has red
that
eyes
was-
Let me, hold on. Since I am in the mountain next to the Yeti, let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
just
yeah.
see how easy it is to.
Is he-
Oh
is he
yeah, we could
standing
shave
with the
this
tricorder?
easily. We could just
I think
shave this
shaving.
boy
Oh,
down and make him a Yeti. We could, or make him into the. Now the Mothman's
he's
whole
already.
deal is
Yes.
that the Mothman's whole deal is that he prophesizes horrible things to come. So could he just
Yeah.
be like, like as you pass him, he's like, "Oh no, you're gonna ride. It's tough to be a bug later. Ooh, spooky, stay away."
Or he tells us about upcoming IP overlays, and just to depress us.
That's
I
a
did-
good one.
As the coaster goes by, you just hear Toy Story.
Yeah. Country Bears is going soon.
Since you three seem to
The
know about
newest bad.
Mothman,
Yeah.
walk me through what a Mothman ride would be like if it replaced the theme of the Yeti.
Okay, so if we could just absolutely rip up that whole mountain and replace it with another thing, the Mothman ride would basically first you'd have the museum. The museum as
Mhm.
the queue is really where the ride starts. Let's all be real. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
what you do is you have a little museum that just kind of gives us a little header on what people thought the Mothman was, or something like that. It's like, in West Virginia in 1970s, like 1976 or something
Something like that.
people began to see this strange creature across West Virginia, some large winged creature with glowing red eyes, and then it all culminated in the Silver Bridge collapse, and then the creature disappeared and was never seen again. And maybe even
Until the next bridge collapsed or something. But yeah, there were several times, because he's an omen of bad luck. So you see the Mothman, and then something bad happens.
So supposedly he showed
to
up
the
before,
town or something like that.
Yeah. So supposedly he showed up before the Chernobyl disaster.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So then what the ride is you first you go through like the woods or something, because that was the first place he was seen. It was the woods, and there was I think it was an old World War II bunker was the first time people saw him.
Why are they always in the woods?
Because the woods are big and scary, and we don't know much about them.
There's no cryptid just in
They
an
can
open
be
field.
creepy.
No. Yeah.
Well, no,
And
that would be
it's
too
the-
easy.
Yeah. Why do cryptids always manage to be around people with shaky hands and bad cameras? But Joe Rohde's getting even closer. I feel like he's leaning in. 'cause he's
Fantastic.
listening.
It's gonna be
I'm
great for
very
the audio.
intrigued. Let's keep it going. Yes.
Yeah. So you go through the woods, and then you kind of pass through like, I don't want to say you passed. Would you just pass through like various West Virginian locations?
Like the whole
Like just
I'm
houses.
picturing like coal
It's
mining and moonshine, like a moonshiner distillery, like
There
kind
you
of, like
go.
it would walk you through like what West Virginia actually is.
Mm-hmm.
and all the
A
disasters.
little bit of backstory
set
of West
the stage.
Virginia.
Potential for like, is there potential for like an enemy of the Mothman that he's trying to protect you from?
Ooh.
Because of course he's like an omen of bad things to come. So like as you're
Slenderman?
going
Well, I was
through the
gonna say
ride-
that's interesting. Some people do view him as like, he's not the one that causes the
benign
disaster. He's just trying to
he's
warn
just trying to
everybody.
warn us. So we would have to. So what's an enemy's? What's a moth's enemy?
Godzilla?
What are you talking about?
Mothra.
Yes, famously,
Mothra.
Mothra
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Ah, I see. A lizard.
Okay. Well,
okay,
no,
so
I'm just saying, make it. Never mind.
make it a Godzilla ride.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Courtney,
There
a bug
is something in
zapper.
that. A bug zapper.
I love it.
Baths? I don't know.
I
A small pool of water.
I can see that almost in like a roller coaster. You're like shooting towards a bug zapper and then you turn at the last minute, kind of like Test Track where you almost get hit by the car, but it's a bug zapper instead.
Now, what if you're going into a giant mountainous coal mine and the Mothman is there trying to warn you, like, the track is out? So that's like...
The track, yeah.
Collapse.
before- Yeah, so, like, there's a mine collapse. Oh, that would be fun. I don't know how we could do this legally, but it would be amazing if we could somehow simulate the mine falling in behind
Wait.
you as you race throughout the
Projection
roller
mapping.
coaster.
Use
Projection
kind of
map.
the same
Wow.
thing they
Wasn't-
do at
is
Big
this
Thunder and then
Universal
projection
Studios
mapping.
Florida? No.
Wasn't there like an effect
like
in
how-
the Indiana Jones attraction? It was like an ice machine that would just dump ice continuously down a chute, then let it melt and then refreeze it. There was like, I remember seeing like on a Martin's Vids mini documentary that like Indiana Jones, to make like falling rubble real, they just had like an ice machine on a conveyor belt. Well, sorry,
So-
ice would get dumped from an ice machine on a conveyor belt,
So
and then it would just fly off near the vehicle.
see, I thought you were saying like it drops on the heads of the audience.
No,
Like, because my
Well,
idea
the
was
problem
you
with
get-
that was the ice turned into very sharp shards of ice, and it impaled
I see.
several riders.
I gotcha.
so
What I was gonna say, what you do is you take like some rock like I don't know, material. You dangle it from the ceiling, so that way as the car rushes by the guests' heads just brush against it, and so that way it feels like rocks are falling on you. That was stupid.
like the leg ticklers from
Yeah,
like How to
exactly.
Shrunk the Audience.
Except it instead of tickling your head, it gives you just a little I don't want to say a little bonk, but like it makes it feel like rocks are falling on your head, or you pump like drywall dust into the corridor to make it look like
Let's just dangle asbestos from the ceiling. Scary.
maybe that's why they can't tear up the mountain. Maybe they're like, in order to keep the mountain warm, we had to line it with asbestos. Now we can't go in there and take it out. We just sealed it
We
more.
did as best as we could.
Hey,
oh my gosh, I was trying to
Rohde ain't funny.
What's like another like mountain that Disney has in like movies or stuff? Like
Or
that?
do you just mean what's another famous mountain?
Yeah.
Mount
There's
Rushmore.
Mount Doom.
That's scary.
We do Mount
President?
Doom.
Mount Doom. That's not
we
bad.
almost did Mount Doom.
Bald Mountain.
Oh, there you go. And you can
Oh, you
can
could
replace
do
the,
Dog.
yeah. You could and I was gonna say you could have the ghosts that you see in Night on Bald Mountain.
Oh yeah,
You can
what's the-
project those onto the mountain, and even at night you can project them on the outside of the mountain. They can be like swirling around and stuff like that. Not like Universal Studios
would
where
be
the
cool.
entire effect is
Okay, thank you.
projection.
Thank
But-
you for defending
but-
this against Universal.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not
It's-
on that magicking world of Sammy Magic or whatever it's called. This is cool.
It's
Now,
just
someone
because
in the chat brought up Witch Mountain, and in that case, we could leave everything
Oh.
the same, just shave the Yeti and turn it into a giant Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yes.
Oh,
Wait,
the remake version of
Oh, I was going to say, yeah.
Race to It.
Oh, yeah.
Who is it in the original?
Also, wasn't that about aliens at the end?
I think
Like
so.
I mean, yeah, the kids
It's
end up
been
being
so
aliens.
long since
the
I
kids were
watched
aliens.
it. Yeah.
I don't remember anything. Like,
I thought-
what is it about the mountain though? Like, what is the mountain and which mountain?
I
They
think which
had to
mountain
get
is
back
like
there. I think that was where the spaceship was coming back to get them or something like that.
That's
I've
what
watched
that's
it
what I
since I was like little.
That's what I was going to say, and I think it's like, ooh, which mountain? You hear weird sounds coming from it all the time, or something like that. It's real spooky up there. Be careful. And it turns out there's aliens, because that was the big thing at the time.
I mean, that's another cryptid thing. You could just make the whole ride aliens.
That's true. Well, who's
like Alien, like Xenomorph, like the Xenomorph. From
Oh,
Aliens.
I see.
This
They do own that now.
no, we're not.
That's
We're not
never
pursuing
gone bad.
that.
That's never
stupid.
broken bad for Disney putting xenomorphs in the ride. That's never been a bad plan.
That's never fallen.
Yeah.
What was the one with Jeffrey Combs?
The ride.
The
It was called like Alien Close Encounter or something
Yeah,
like that. It was a motion simulator though.
good old Jeffrey
Mhm.
Combs. He could be the Mothman. we could hire Jeffrey Combs to be the Mothman for the ride. That's that. You know what? That's
I
really.
mean, is he going to talk or is he just going to be in a costume?
Well, he could be either or. What if he's both in a costume and he's like the lead, the head of the expedition or something, and he talks to us on a video screen?
I would love for Jeffrey Combs
that's-
to be the pre-show to Expedition
Really?
Everest.
That's what any ride in the Magic Kingdom needs, is more Jeffrey Combs.
Now, do we have to explain who Jeffrey Combs is, or just
No, I
keep
think
it a
I think
joke
I
for-
think
between
I
us?
think
Anyways.
people will Google it and then they'll be like, "Oh, that guy."
He's in literally everything.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get old Jeffy Combs on the horn. See if we can get him in to talk about this, because I love this thing. This is a great idea. Here,
Okay,
hold
well,
on.
Well, while you work on that,
Oh, there he is.
hey.
there he is.
Hi, it's me, Jeffrey Combs. Oh, it's
That's
nice to
exactly
see
what
you,
he sounds
Jeffrey.
like.
That's right, it's me, Jeffrey Combs, and I'm here to be on your good mountain ride. I'm back now. There's a glitch happening. All right, I'm back.
This is incredible. 2 celebrity guests for the price of 1. Good old Jeffrey Combs. You were really good in Reanimator. Reanimator the Ride.
Now we're just now
It
now it's
keeps
just a
switching
role
between
play
the
session.
two of us, and I
It's just
don't
a-
know why.
It's like subliminal messaging.
Mhm.
Okay, so my idea was like, if you had to get rid of let's say they did have to take the Yeti out and they had
Okay.
to close the mountain.
Yes.
Yes.
What would you do during that time? My idea was erect a stage in front of Everest
hmm
and do like a Legend of the Yeti,
like a
Pandora type
like a
show.
ceremony.
Yeah.
You send some Imagineers on vacation in Tibet for a little while, and then they come back and they say, "Yeah, we studied the local culture, and there's a dance they do to appease the Yeti or something like that." And what if it's literally just the same show from Pandora, just slightly different?
The drum show?
The drum show, and they finish, and you hear like, "Oh," and he's like, "The Yeti has heard us."
Now, I know,
You know,
I'm just a
it
small
wouldn't
town, simple
shock
home
me.
man. But I got
Yes,
an
Mr.
idea
Combs?
if you guys want to hear it. I know I'm not a famous Imagineer or nothing like that, but I
No, no,
just have an idea.
No.
Go ahead. We want to hear.
I think this might be a different Jeffrey
if
Combs.
you it's me, Jeffrey Combs. I think I'm Jeffrey Combs. I don't know. But what if we want to lean into this whole alien idea? I know these Disney boys, they've been loving drones lately. Why don't do a show where you kind of Independence Day the mountain? So you projection map over the broken, beaten down mountain, and then you show a UFO above it destroying the mountain.
Or you have the drones that look like UFOs. That's interesting. And because it's not really that big, it's forced perspective. The drone wouldn't have to be that big. And you would just have like fancy lights on it.
Yeah.
You blow up the mountain. every night at
every night you blow up the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, it's promotional. It's promotional for the upcoming reboot of the ride, what features aliens and whatnot.
Yeah.
Do we own the rights to Independence Day? Hold on, let me see.
Wasn't that? I think that wasn't. No, that was a 21st century. No, that was a Fox movie, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
so.
It was distributed by 20th Century Fox. So yeah, we
You
got.
remember you remember the opening?
To have Will
Fox
Smith come
DVD.
Uh,
I just picked. Well, first of all, somebody said no entertainment at all allowed around this place. Bib Chapek, and I like the idea of Bib Fortuna being mixed with Bob Chapek.
Bib Fortuna. Ah.
Should we? What should we do with this ride, Mr. Bib Chapek? Oh, Saramanga.
I was gonna say, well, they're speaking of Bib Fortuna, what Star Wars, what IPs could we throw over that? I mean, Star Wars, obviously you could make it into Mountain of Hoth or something like that, the Hoth Cave Mountain or something, and then you just have the Yeti be a Wampa. I think
what we really need is to make up a new terrible Star Wars location that is apparently a mix of all the other ones, and then pretend like it's going to be a lot. Oh no! Bob Chapek's here.
He's coming.
You said the magic words.
We were just talking Star Wars, and I guess.
Yeah. Mr. Chapek, welcome. We've been working very hard to figure out what you can do to get rid of that India themed coaster or whatever.
That
we were
thing
thinking.
I absolutely hate it. It was that Earring Boys plan. It's the worst thing in the park, an absolute eyesore. I'm Bob Chapek.
That's what he sounds like. That's what rich people sound like.
Yeah, he always ends his sentences by saying, "I'm Bob Chapek."
Well, I don't know if he ends all of his sentences, but he certainly has to remind us of who he is. But what I was going to say was that we were thinking Star Wars, Mr. Chapek, and so. Do you think there's anything that Star Wars is the hot property that Disney owns now? What would you do anything with Star Wars to the mountain?
I would invent a whole new place in Star Wars that no one knows about, because everyone's like, I want to go to Tatooine, I want to go to Dagobah, but I give them what they really want, which is a whole new world. And so I'm gonna invent. How about this? It's called Mountain Googaba, and in it, that's where Baby Yoda is, and everyone loves him. So it's a whole ride about rescuing Baby Yoda from an evil alien that's definitely not the Yeti.
There you go. So that's easy.
You know what the worst part is?
Mandalorian Mountain is good alliteration.
Disney loves.
Yes, exactly. You're going on our payroll now. Mandalorian Mountain. I love it.
And there you go. And as soon as you put Baby Yoda in that ride, people will get on it just to see that little freak.
So it's like,
yeah. Exactly.
I figure we could have him in the front of the ride vehicle, a lot like E.T. at Universal, but like a little,
you can also have
a little bit better than that.
We gotta get him out of here.
Someone mentioned Universal Studios. How dare they? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. How dare you? I'm going to take your power away from you. You have no control over me anymore, Chapek. How dare you? I've done it. You can just keep swapping back and forth.
It's like the ultimate improv.
I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about all that. That phone call got a little crazy.
I was gonna say I was engaged by that drama that was happening there.
Right?
That showdown.
We did. We talked. I mean, we did Star Wars. We got to do the other one.
The other big one. Yes.
Is there a Marvel character that is a Yeti or a Bigfoot?
Oh, there is indeed in the Marvel universe. The Hulk fights the Wendigo, And in the context of the
that's
Marvel
true.
universe, I do believe that the Wendigo is either a infection which passes from people to people and spreads, or it is like a supernatural entity that takes possession of someone, and then they grow into a giant Wendigo Yeti type monster, and is able to go toe to toe with the Hulk for a little bit. So
There's a Wendigo car design in Planet Coaster.
I was gonna say, and even the Hulk in Wolverine versus the Hulk, he goes to a mountain retreat to get away from society and human things like that. Except when they get up there, for some reason, the Hulk is like, he's surrounded, but he's got like a harem of babes that are all around him.
I don't like that. I don't like the concept of this harem of babes. Very uncomfortable. Now, there is Avengers Mountain, which does sound like Marvel was just like, hey, I want a mountain. What
is that a real thing?
I don't doubt it.
Avengers Mountain, and it appears to be a real tall celestial what died on Earth. And now this was my voice, right? Okay. And apparently the Avengers kind of just chill there. It's got copies of all their armor and stuff like that. So maybe
it's a backup base.
Someone we haven't gotten to use
it's like
yet.
Hotel New York.
And I don't know if we could use him, but maybe Doctor Doom's trying to take.
I was also thinking Doctor Doom. We're on the same wavelength, Joe Rohde. Doctor Doom's a great villain because you don't have to explain anything about him. It's all there in the name. Doctor Doom. Boom. There he is. You know he's a bad guy. He looks scary. He's got the metal face and the armor and such.
Dr. Doom's Metal Mountain.
Lieutenant Spooky Boy situation. You don't have to explain it. He's Lieutenant Spooky Boy. Actually, if we can't get the rights from those horrible people at Universal, we can just make up our own new one, and it can be Lieutenant Spooky Boy, and it's just Dr.
There you go.
Doom, but we changed the name.
Lieutenant Spooky Boy's Mountainous Adventure.
Or everyone's favorite character, Crossbones.
Okay.
Oh, I love that guy.
On both of these. I don't know enough Marvel for this.
So what other IP? Okay,
I have a good one.
What animated Disney film could they slap on that?
So here's the thing.
Black Cauldron.
There's a movie. Would that work?
I would love a Black Cauldron ride. I don't know if there's a mountain in that, but the Horned King's Castle, that would be great. Oh, there's a bunch of skeletons.
Before we leave Marvel, is there potential for a Wakandan mountain where you're going to harvest?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, where you're going to harvest
the hallucinogen flower.
I forget. Yeah, and you're riding on
Panther.
the cool train throughout it. And at one point, you do pass through like Killmonger and Black Panther fighting. You go to the top of the mountain, and you're just trying to harvest the unobtainium. No, that's not right.
Not quite.
Vibranium. That's it.
That's the one.
There you go.
The other.
What was yours, Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through a few quick ones in the chat. So K3310SU says the North Mountain from Frozen is obvious. I mean,
true.
It's almost identical to Frozen Ever After already.
I was going to say that
other than a few extra drops, the track design is like the same.
Oh,
what?
We found it. Disney's just
I will
again.
try it.
Listen, so you're going through the tunnel. It's just a podcast. You're just going through the tunnel, and then
we've been right about.
And then you
get
before. Through. We have been right about things before, which is very uncomfortable. So you're going up the tunnel, and then it's like, oh, Elsa saved her sister or whatever, and then it's like you're going to Elsa's ice castle for literally no reason. And then when you get to the top, instead of the eagle, it's Elsa up there, and she's like, let it go. And then you do the backwards bit, and then you stop again, and then there's the snow guy and the snow geese, and then it goes forward again, and then right at the end,
You
I
see
guess,
the giant
I guess
snowman thing.
Hans is there with a sword, and he goes to swing at you, and then you escape from him, and then that's the end of the ride.
Yes,
you went a very
famously, Hans tries to murder you on this ride with a big
Yeah.
sword. Now, is there something inherently problematic by putting a ride in our Asian area featuring a bunch of white people what like to sing about snow?
You know what? They'll the justification will be that Frozen did really well in China, so they're they're just celebrating Disney here.
I know no one's gonna like it, but you could just retheme that area to be Arendelle.
You could. It doesn't matter. Well, I was gonna say it doesn't matter. Disney does not care about the consistency of the theming. If that's
No,
one
they
thing.
don't care about consistency anymore.
What were you pointing at, Mr.
Yes,
Well, the
you
other
could
thing
put
in
in
the
all of
chat-
those famous Arendelle animals like moose and other moose.
There you go.
Wolf, more wolf. Somebody pointed something obvious out in the chat that we didn't think about.
Yeah.
Secret Swiss bobsled training facility.
There you go.
If you, I mean,
That
the
would be
Asia
good.
section could just be Switzerland.
Okay, there you go. That's the
where
whole
that
the rehab.
mountain is,
Why
right? That's where Swiss is in Switzerland, right?
Swiss
pretty
implies
sure.
that something is from Switzerland. Yes.
Yes, I
And
feel
then-
like the Swiss Alps are probably in Switzerland. Yes.
Just making sure. I'm literally looking at a giant map of the world above our let's call it Imagineering bed, and I've never even looked twice at that.
What other mountains are there? in the
Okay,
world?
so here was the thing. We were talking about Disney movies.
yes.
This is not a Disney movie,
Okay.
but there's a film
Not yet.
series called Son of Bigfoot,
Oh.
and
What?
A,
it's
a
about
series.
a dad who is literally like the Sasquatch or Bigfoot,
What?
and he has superpowers, like he can run really fast and talk to animals. And the movie is that his son is also experiencing these powers, and they think his dad is dead. And in the craziest plot ever, a guy who runs like a mega corporation, which Disney loves, wants to steal his hair to make a hair care product that will help bald people from being bald.
What?
And the plot
Yes,
is that
it's
he
a
almost
documentary
murders
about
the
my
son.
life.
It's the most
It's a
bonkers
documentary.
movie, but they're
That
making
does
a
sound
sequel.
insane.
It's
They're
got
making a
everything. Disney
sequel?
loves. Yeah, they're making a sequel. It's called Bigfoot Family, I think. That's how well that
I
movie
was
did.
hoping it would be
Oh,
son of
Disney
son of
loves the word
Bigfoot.
family.
I've watched
I'm
it. It's
so confused.
but here's the thing. It's got a boy protagonist who looks like every other male protagonist in every Disney movie and
All right,
DreamWorks
that's why.
movie. You've got a bunch of marketable plush animals. You've got
Perfect.
Bigfoot. You've got a bad guy who works for a villainous mega corporation, which Disney, for some reason, always puts in their movies.
It's because that way Disney can be like, oh yes, look at the big evil corporations who try to what do you call it? Who try to destroy nature and things like that. Of course, Disney itself being a company that tore
Yes.
up acres and acres of swampland to create a theme. I was trying to think of a good joke, but there wasn't one. Just a theme park, I guess. A carnival of shills or something like that. Oh, what's
Oh,
that?
God.
I think Joe
oh,
Rohde is-
wait.
Art. Is it
No,
concept
wait,
art?
Wait, hold on. Oh no, I broke it. No, ignore
Oh,
me.
Pay no attention. to the
Hello,
man
it's
behind
me,
the
Joe
curtain.
Rohde. I'm back.
Oh my
Welcome back,
god.
Mr. Rohde.
For those of you just joining us,
Ignore that.
I showed us the
It's
concept
the
art
recap.
of a very well animated puppet,
Yeah.
digital puppet.
Digital puppet.
That's my
we
new
were-
Yeti animatronic. I gave you a brief glimpse at it, but that's
There
it.
you Oh, we
DZ
got-
Studios in chat says, "Son of Beast." Here's a fun story.
Hmm.
I was at Kings Island an hour after Son of Beast broke down and sent a bunch of people to the hospital. And that was the first ride I was going to go on. So that's horrifying because I didn't want to go to a hospital in Ohio, I think was the joke. Yeah, but Son of Beast was a wooden roller coaster that was at Paramount Kings Island. It was the world's only wooden roller coaster with a loop. And it was not a comfortable attraction.
I'll take your word for it.
That doesn't sound like it.
And that made me think Beauty and the Beast. You take the Yeti, you turn it into the Beast. You put a little tailcoat on him or whatever the Beast wears, the blue tailcoat, and then you just make it like you make it because the Beast's castle is like up on a hill or something, right? It's close enough.
Yeah.
Sort of.
You're trying. Yeah. You're really trying on this one, aren't you? It could be.
But think about it. Then we could get those new animatronics from Tokyo. The ones that waltz. You could have a dark ride scene with those at the end. That would be adorable.
Oh, you could have a giant Lumiere instead of the Yeti, and instead of swooping down, his hand comes up and he's like, "Be our guest," and then you fall into
Beauty and the Beast scene.
Of a roller coaster.
The Be Our Guest scene.
There you go.
How many times can you just rehash the same Beauty and the Beast story to a different?
A million, because it's great.
Well, and like they say at the beginning, tale as old as time. There are many cultures in which the story of or that sort of dynamic of a story where there's the Beast and the Beauty, and then they either fall in love or we learn an important lesson about what was it, appearances or something like that. That exists quite universally. So you can rehash that story many times, and people will not get bored of it. What other Disney animated films or even just Disney films could be shoehorned into the mountain? Now that Joe Rohde's gone and
Song of the South.
No! We just
No.
That was a joke, everybody, and we'll just end it right there.
I was gonna say
Old Yeller.
And at the end they cut his head off. That's what happens in Old Yeller.
That's what happens in Old Yeller? They decapitate him?
I thought the boy just shot him.
I'll do it. Give me the battle axe as he's down on the dog.
I was going to say, I'm almost certain that we started reading Old Yeller for in like my elementary school. The first chapter of that is them hacking off a dog's head because it's got rabies or something like that, and the author describes the dog head snapping around on the ground after it's been decapitated.
And that's a fun energy to bring to our children's theme park. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, let's do it.
Was anyone forced to read Hatchet?
I was forced to read Hatchet. I was also forced to read...
Maybe it sounds familiar.
Sir, it's an early survival video game. It's a book about a boy who his plane goes down in a forest in the middle of nowhere, and all he has is a hatchet.
What happens is the pilot has a heart attack while they're flying, and then the plane lands in a lake, and the only real tool he has is hatchet, and he uses that to survive. It's a fascinating story about. Not fascinating story, but it's a story about the limits of a young boy's ability to survive or something like that. A person being pushed to the outer edges of civilization and blah 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 whatever. I
just had a thought.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
There you go. It's got a mountain. It's got slavery, child slavery. That way kids know where the Disney toys came from.
Why are you saying it like that's a positive?
The big temple thing in the temple.
Yeah.
Where they keep the stones. Disney, you wouldn't have to worry about it moving.
As we know from
now, if we do a temple, I would much rather go with one of the ideas from chat, which is Cuscatopia from Emperor's New Groove, and turn it into a water ride.
That's a good one.
Gliding all around. I'll be honest, we're all kind of banking on Rhea and the Last Dragon to pop off so we can finally do something. So hopefully, if that makes the bank, we can do something.
That is the thing.
I will cry.
I mean, this is the place in the park to really put anything Rey and the Last Dragon themed, I guess.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's the new Disney movie focusing on like Chinese folklore and stuff like that.
Okay, I guess that's cool.
It's got like dragons and
they did so well with Mulan.
Has it? Oh, Mulan in the mountain. Where you know?
You say that like that's a
where the giant battle happens.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
the battle happens and she shoots the cannon thing and causes the avalanche.
No, Mount Fuji's in Japan.
I'm sorry, I'm bad at geography.
I don't know what mountains they are either specifically.
I don't think they ever say, but
yeah. But you could have the fireworks that shoot in the dark, and then you take the Yeti animatronic and you put some armor on him and
turn him into the Mongol
bad guy's face. Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't remember. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Is that it?
Okay.
Maybe.
That's the guy from
Something
The Good Place.
John Yu? From
I mean, honestly, like...
You could get Eddie Murphy to come back and do some new lines.
We throw out ridiculous ideas on this show. That's the whole point of Ride Rehab, is we're just like, what's something stupid? And then according to our Epcot episode, well, a lot of stuff can actually happen.
Sometimes it's so stupid, Disney uses it.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, honestly, like, if the ride continues to be like, oh, well, we're not going to care for that. Sorry. I don't understand. Like, there's certainly that's the major draw of that park. Why couldn't, and this is realistically, why couldn't Disney be like, hey, we're going to close this. We're going to put a projection show on the front of the mountain, though. We're still going to sell merchandise in the store. Mm-hmm. Maybe there'll be a food booth. Why don't you then go, hey, everyone, it's been a year. Here's a big advertising campaign. I've talked about this with like Pirates. They were like, oh, we're going to do one minor thing in Pirates to change it. And then we're going to do a whole video package. We're going to go in, we're going to show the history of the ride, and then we're going to be like, here's the new redhead.
We're going to have some celebrities prattle on about it.
Here's a bunch of boring celebrities riding the ride and being like, oh my God, I loved it so much. The stormtroopers shooting at me. Mickey looked like he was really there. You got a bunch of celebrities to come to the Disney World for free and then lie about how amazing the experience is. You get a bunch of bloggers to be like, oh my God, Pirates is better than it's ever been. Why don't you just do that with the Yeti? You fix the Yeti, you add a few projection effects on the inside part of the mountain, you update the projector before the second drop, and then you do
fix the bird.
Campaign. You fix the bird, you maybe make an actual eagle.
Instead of just a weird thing on a stick that just goes and then goes back down.
Yeah. Make the animatronic eagle a little bit more realistic.
Every few hours, they have to go up and put like a rabbit corpse on the thing to get an eagle to come down and eat at. They keep getting vultures and they have to shoo them away.
But seriously, you do all that, and then you make a big advertising campaign. You're like, the Yeti is back and scarier than ever. Yeah. And then you bring a bunch of bloggers and influencers, because that's what they're there for, free press. You give them a bunch of hotels for free. You tell them to come and then talk up the attraction.
But that's so much.
And we'll give you a free churro or whatever.
So in a perfect world, and quite honestly, I have a feeling that's exactly what Rohde was advocating for. I think if we're being realistic, the problem. So in a perfect
we could ask
world,
him. He's
and
here.
quite honestly, I have a feeling that's exactly what Rohde was advocating for.
Thing?
Because that sounds absolutely perfect.
I was going to rip up this big, cool mountain and then put a Yeti in it. But, like, they looked at me and were like, hey, we can fix up most rides pretty easy and you don't lose the visual impact of the park. We could go into Spaceship Earth, fix up that whole thing, and we don't have to make it look as if God took a big bite out of the side of it like it's a big, juicy apple. with Everest, we are going to have to snip the tip off the top of it to get that ding-dang Yeti out of there. And I feel like that was their problem. They didn't like my idea, which was to projection map lava into the top of the mountain so it looked like a big volcano.
And that's exciting.
So that was their issue, was the visuals.
Well, but I think originally they didn't know how to fix it, quite frankly. I think because they didn't think it through. They had absolutely no idea how to fix it.
We had no clue.
Took them 6 months just to learn that it was breaking down.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think based on comments that Mr. Rohde, Joe, that you've given in interviews recently, they now do know how to fix it. They just, I think, now down to money and, quite frankly, capacity. Because if you read at the end of the day, I know we always give studios a hard time, but they have less capacity than studios does. I mean, if you take away like the walking paths and things for the animals, which a lot of people don't do. And now that they've lost Nemo and Lion King, they've lost all of that capacity. And those were people eaters. So if you take down Everest now, people will come do Pandora and then leave.
Perfect.
If only there was like a time in our lives where if only there was like a time in our lives where something was causing not a lot of people to want to go to the parks, maybe we could close these rides for a while. If only there was something that happened that could cause the whole world to be like, let's not go to Disney World. I just don't know what could happen that could cause that.
Dude, Joe Rohde doesn't know he's too rich. No one told him.
I mean, look at Universal. I hate to say it, Joe Rohde. Look at Universal. They're almost done building an entire roller coaster.
I refuse.
That's true.
I refuse to look at Universal.
Fair. I think it's just
brought me voodoo donuts and I smashed it in their face and fired them.
Well, I think it's just about time to wrap up now.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about how Expedition Everest could be rethemed or and we could. That's the thing. We can sit here in our cushy little apartments and
or in the mountain
or in the wait. Joe Rohde's in the mountain right now, and we can talk about how we would how it would be just easy to just shut the ride down, things like that. We have no idea. We are just speculating, and we are just going by what we think. And but I think there is probably some veracity to what we're saying, where we think that Disney just doesn't care at this point, and it's less about the it doesn't balance out as far as they're concerned. The cost to repair it is not worth shutting it down for X amount of time when they just see it as quote unquote a generic coaster themed to India or something.
Depressing.
So it is
a depressing note to end.
It
is kind of depressing, but on the other hand, it's like, well, what are you gonna do?
Fix the Yeti. That's what they should do.
Thank you for watching or listening to this weird impromptu fast play episode of Ride Rehab. Thank you very much to Ashley for joining us. Thank you to Joe Rohde, Bob Chapek, what was the other guy?
Jeffrey Combs.
One
of my favorite actors.
And for absolutely no reason, thank you to Scotty from the Opposite Attractions podcast for throwing us for a loop completely.
Yeah.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Tom.
And more Ride Rehab is coming. We are working on new episodes and stuff. You'll see that eventually. Hopefully next year we'll have a new Ride Rehab show for you guys to enjoy. Coming up next, we got Live from Epcot with Tom. That's going to go until about 4, and then I will be back building an actual theme park based on your suggestions in chat and donations at 4 p.m. And you are watching the 65-hour broadcast to support the cast member pantry. A lot of cast members need some access to food to put food on their tables for their families this holiday season. So please head to pantry.wdwnt.com to make a donation. Thank you to everybody. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.